All right, so today we're going deep into the world of renewable energy. Specifically, we're looking at ACME Solar Holdings Ltd. And their second quarter results for fiscal year 2025.
Yeah, their Q2 FY25
I
results.
know when you hear financial reports, you probably think, oh, this is going to be boring. But
It doesn't have to be.
no, not at all. We've got a really interesting mix of sources here.
Yeah, we do.
We've got the earnings call Q&A, we have their full financial report, and then they have this really interesting investor presentation.
Like, very visual.
Yes, very visual. So we're going to try to, extract all the good stuff from these, all the juicy insights, the stuff that really matters.
Yeah, cut through all that noise and give you the key takeaways.
Exactly. So we want you to be able to quickly grasp, how did they actually perform? What's their position in the market? And what does their future look like? Because their future
Is very tied to the future of renewable energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
In India and beyond.
Okay, so before we get into the numbers, let's step back for a second.
Who is ACME Solar Holdings Limited?
They're a pretty major player in the Indian renewable energy landscape. They have a really diverse portfolio of 6,720 megawatts across solar, wind, hybrid projects,
Wow.
and something called FDRE. It stands for Fixed Dose Rate Energy.
Fixed dose rate energy.
Yeah, it's a new technology, kind of a next-gen approach to generating clean energy.
So it's not just solar.
No, they're diversified, which is good.
Yeah, but a diverse portfolio doesn't always mean a healthy company. So how strong is their financial footing?
That's a great point. Well, they have a very impressive shareholding pattern, meaning they have solid backing from investors,
Okay.
and they have a really strong credit rating. CRISIL A1 as of April 2024.
CRISIL A1. Now, for those of us who don't speak, credit rating, what does that actually mean for their financial health?
Basically, they are considered a very low-risk borrower.
Okay.
It's like a gold star from the credit rating agency.
I like gold stars.
And this, along with their long-term contracts, mostly with government-backed entities, ensures a very stable and predictable cash flow.
Okay, so we've got solid backing, good credit rating, stable income. These are all good things.
Check, check, check.
Yeah, check. And you mentioned that little nugget about their goal of 10 gigawatts of operational capacity by 2030.
That's right, by 2030, which is a pretty aggressive target.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Now let's get into the heart of the matter. The Q2 FY25 report.
Yes, let's do it.
Hit me with the top-level takeaways. What's the big news here?
Well, at the consolidated level, meaning across all their projects, they brought in total revenue of INR 635 crore in the first half of fiscal year 25.
Okay.
That's a 5.5% increase from the previous year.
Not bad, steady growth.
Yeah, steady growth, which is good in this market.
But revenue's not the whole story. What about profitability?
Well, their EBITDA, which stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Okay, so EBITDA, their profitability.
Exactly.
Okay.
Came in at a healthy INR 558 crore, a 4.8% increase.
So they're not just bringing in more money, they're also becoming more profitable.
Over profitable, yeah.
That's the sweet spot.
That is the sweet spot.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Their cash profit after tax, or PAT, shot up by a whopping 75.4% in Q2 FY25.
75.4% compared to the same quarter last year, reaching INR 75 crore.
Now, that's a jump. But hold on, I noticed in the report that there's this distinction between reported and like-to-like financials.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Oh, good catch. That's because ACME sold off 369 megawatts worth of assets last year.
Oh, okay.
So the like-to-like numbers just provide a more accurate apples-to-apples comparison.
So we're not comparing apples and oranges.
Exactly. We're taking out the impact of that sale to give a clearer picture of the underlying growth.
Makes sense. Okay, so those are the numbers.
Yeah.
What's driving this success? Let's get into some of the operational highlights.
One of the major contributors is their massive 1,200 megawatt SCCI ISIS solar project in Rajasthan.
Okay.
It's actually part of an even larger project with a total DC capacity of 1,752 megawatts peak. And here's the exciting part. A significant portion of it, around 1,023 megawatts, came online in October 2024.
Wow, so they're ahead of schedule because I thought it was March 2025.
Way ahead of schedule. And that means they're already generating revenue from it.
Okay.
Roughly INR 1.5 crore per day.
That's a lot of crore.
It is. And they're ramping up very quickly.
Early bird gets the worm.
Or the sunshine in this case.
Or the sunshine, exactly. What other operational gems should we know about?
Well, they've been really innovative with their operations. For instance, they've deployed dry cleaning robots for solar panel maintenance.
Like little Roombas running around on solar panels.
Yeah, kind of. It's all about efficiency and improving the plant's energy output.
Okay, so they're making those solar panels shine,
Literally.
literally and
Yeah,
figuratively.
yes.
Okay. What about, you mentioned some financial maneuvering as well.
Oh, yeah. They renegotiated debt on several projects, securing lower interest rates and freeing up INR 590 crore in cash.
It sounds like they're playing the renewable energy game like a pro.
They are.
But let's zoom out for a moment. How do they fit into the bigger picture? What's their market position, and what does the future hold for them?
They're in a really good spot, actually. The market's expanding rapidly.
Okay.
India has these crazy ambitious renewable energy targets. We're talking 50 gigawatts per year.
50 gigawatts a year. I mean, that's huge. But what does that even look like in the real world? Like, how do we even grasp that?
Imagine enough clean energy to power a whole city.
Wow.
Millions of homes, businesses, really reducing India's dependence on those fossil fuels.
So they're really riding this huge wave of growth.
Oh, absolutely.
But how are they handling the risks in this market? Because every industry has them.
Yeah, for sure. They've got a pretty smart approach to what's called offtake.
Offtake.
Yeah, they have these contracts with both state and central government entities.
Okay.
But the majority, like 85%, are with the central government.
Okay, so they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Spreading the risk, exactly.
Okay, but what about those under construction projects that we talked about? 4,180 megawatts. That's a massive amount, even for a big company like ACME.
Oh, it is, no doubt. But they've already secured debt financing for 1,400 megawatts of those,
Oh.
which really shows their financial strength and how committed they are to this expansion.
But debt's debt. That's a lot of money for a company that only had INR 635 crore in revenue for the first half of the year.
Right, but their refinancing is a big factor here.
Financing.
Yeah, they renegotiated debt on some of their current projects,
Oh, okay.
got lower interest rates, and freed up like INR 590 crore in cash.
So they're managing that debt well.
Yeah, being smart about it. And don't forget those long-term contracts they have.
Those PPAs, right?
Yes, those 25-year PPAs. They give them a really consistent revenue stream.
It's like a guaranteed paycheck
Pretty much.
for 25 years.
Yeah, exactly. Makes it a lot easier to get loans if you have a steady job, right?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, so steady income for 25 years. That's a good start.
It is. And we can't forget all the operational efficiency stuff they're doing, like those robots and preventative maintenance, squeezing every last drop out of their asset.
Right, right. So they're generating more from current projects, they're managing debt, they're securing financing for future growth. But that target, the 10 gigawatts by 2030, that's still a huge undertaking.
Absolutely. It's a huge goal.
So paint me a picture. What does that actually look like in the real world?
Well, think about powering an entire city with completely clean energy. That's the scale we're talking about. Millions of homes and businesses all running on renewable power.
Wow, that's a big impact. And, thinking bigger picture, this could have ripple effects throughout the whole Indian economy.
Yeah.
Less reliance on fossil fuels, new jobs in renewables,
Cleaner air.
cleaner air. Yeah, it's all connected.
Absolutely. And don't forget, India wants to add 50 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity every year until 2028.
Every year?
Yeah, that's their goal. And ACME, with everything they've got going on, is in a really great position to help make that happen.
Okay, so they have a solid track record, a smart strategy, and a huge growth opportunity in this booming market. It seems like they've got it all.
Well, almost.
There's always a but, isn't there?
Well, there are always challenges in any industry.
Okay, let's not sugarcoat it.
Right.
What are the bumps in the road? What do investors need to be aware of?
One thing to keep an eye on is their days sales outstanding, or DSO.
The DSO, right. We talked about that earlier. It's still a bit high, isn't it? Especially with those discoms in Andhra Pradesh taking their sweet time to pay up.
Exactly. And high DSOs can really tie up a company's cash flow, makes it harder to invest in new projects and manage that debt effectively.
But I thought they had some kind of payment security to protect themselves.
They do, which is good.
Okay.
They've got things like letters of credit or bank guarantees in place to protect them from those discoms who don't pay on time.
Okay, so it's a risk, but they've got a safety net.
Yeah, exactly.
What else should we be thinking about?
Competition. It's getting crowded in the renewable energy market, with players coming in from all over, both domestic and international.
Competition can be a good thing, right? Keeps everyone on their toes.
It definitely can be. So the question is, how will ACME stay ahead of the pack?
What's their secret weapon?
Well, one thing they're doing is focusing on those new technologies we talked about earlier, like FDRE and those hybrid projects.
Right. Always innovating, always adapting.
Exactly. That lets them meet a lot of different customer needs, which makes them more competitive in the long run.
So they're not just relying on solar. They're branching out. They're staying ahead of the curve.
And they've got their eyes on that big 10 gigawatt goal.
Okay, 10 gigawatts by 2030, got it. They're really setting themselves up to be a major player on the global stage, not just in India.
Oh, absolutely. They've got the financing for a lot of their under construction projects. They're looking at new projects across all these technologies.
It's a pretty exciting time to be following this industry.
It is.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. What are your key takeaways? What are your thoughts on ACME's performance, their future? What stands out to you? Maybe what are you a little bit worried about? Think about it while we move into our final section, where we're going to explore some of those broader trends in renewable energy and what it all means for companies like ACME. All right, so we've really dug into ACME's performance and their ambitious plans and even some of the challenges they're facing.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out even more now.
The big picture.
The big picture. What's happening in the renewable energy sector overall, and what does that mean for companies like ACME?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that the push for decarbonization globally is just accelerating like we've never seen before. It's
Yeah.
really amazing. All these countries setting these huge targets, trying to transition away from those fossil fuels.
Yeah, it feels like a real global shift is happening. Like the world is waking up and realizing, hey, we got to do something about this climate change thing. So how does this global shift to renewables impact a company like ACME specifically? Is this their time to shine?
It could be, yeah. I mean, this creates a massive market opportunity for companies who are already leading the way, like ACME.
It's all about timing
It is.
and being in the right place.
The right place with the right product.
Exactly. And speaking of the right place, India, with all that sunshine and wind, it seems like they're really poised to be a major player in the global renewable energy market.
Oh, absolutely. And their government is really embracing it. I mean, their goal is 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030.
500.
By 2030, it's huge.
That's mind-blowing. I mean, that's a complete transformation of India's energy. So what role could ACME play in all of this?
They could be a major driving force in making this happen.
Yeah.
With their track record, their tech expertise, their financial strength, I mean, they're very well positioned to take advantage of this growth.
So it's not just about being along for the ride. It's about shaping the future.
Exactly.
But, we're talking gigawatts, megawatts, all these huge numbers. It's hard to wrap your head around it sometimes. So for our listeners, why should they care about all this? What does it mean for them? Why does any of this matter?
Well, I think that's where it gets really interesting. The growth of renewable energy isn't just an environmental issue. It's about jobs. It's about investments. It's about boosting the entire economy.
Right.
It's about building a cleaner, healthier future and a more prosperous one for everyone.
Exactly. And companies like ACME are right there leading the way. But, it's a competitive landscape out there. With this global push for decarbonization, could we see ACME even going international? Or are they going to stay focused on India?
That's the big question, isn't it? They have the potential, right? They've proven they can execute these large-scale projects.
Yeah.
They can adapt to new tech. They know how to secure the financing. The international market is ripe for disruption. And a company like ACME, with all their advantages, could really seize that opportunity.
It's an exciting time to be watching all of this. And ACME is definitely a company to keep your eye on. We've covered a lot today, from their financial performance to their big plans for the future, and even those global trends shaping the entire industry. So if this deep dive has got you thinking and wanting to learn more, I encourage you to do just that.
There's so much out there.
Yeah, the world of renewable energy is huge, and it's always changing. And who knows, maybe you'll uncover the next big thing in clean energy. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.